Right.
Only 12 feet of machine.
Yeah, that's
All right, Patrick, just so you know, you are muted there now. Okay, now you're back.
talking to Joel on the side. I didn't want to bother
No
everybody.
worries.
See folks coming in.
Just maybe you need or you want pressure.
Whichever ones you want me to display, because the only way for me to share them on the screen is to do that. Because I'm running the OWL from my laptop.
Anybody else?
I don't know.
What's going on here? That key didn't work.
I didn't do a very good job unlocking that door.
No, you know it was me, because when I walked, it was open. Hey. Good morning, how are you? Good morning. Thank you for coming.
Hey. All right, folks. We'll get started in about 1 minute. Just want to see if anybody else joins us online. We have 2 folks in the room here, 3 board members in the boardroom. So it'll probably be like some of our town halls with a very light turnout. But thanks everybody who is here.
Walked out of there. We came up at 5:30 this morning.
Oh, you drove up today?
Yeah,
Wow.
I did a second retirement plan.
Nice.
I
Congrats.
retired 14 years ago and retired again yesterday, this week.
You gonna stay retired?
I'm gonna stay. Well, what happened was when I retired, they hired me back 2 days a week as a consultant.
Mhm.
So I've been doing consulting work only 2 days a week and then just giving that up.
Gotcha.
That seems to be the norm nowadays, you know, you're retired and,
Yeah.
per diem afterwards. Exactly.
Well, congrats.
Thank you. Did you get what I said? Because it might have been too big.
Let me see.
Somebody BMW with hazards on up there. That makes Joel. Well, that's my accident. Thank you.
All right. All right. Why don't we get going if everybody's good with that? I don't see, Nick, do you see anybody else online?
I just admitted someone else and we're good. No one's in the waiting room.
Okay. Oh, good. Tom's joining in. That's great. Tom's very important to the second item. All right. Thanks, everybody. This is our town hall about the 2 capital voting items. Super informal, as we've done in the past. We just wanted to give community members a chance to ask questions. We sent out a memo on the 25th of July to try to explain this, but I'm sure folks have questions, thoughts, ideas, and we just wanted to go through it. So joining us too is Nick Warner, our director of property management. Thank you, Joel. I'm getting these pictures now. Perfect. Who will help explain what management did in securing bids, et cetera, and some of these things. So maybe what we can do is just go through them one at a time. I don't know if that makes more sense than going through both and asking questions here and there. I think if we stick to one topic at a time, it'll probably be a little easier. So first is the entertainment roof replacement. As the memo set out, when this building that we're in right now was renovated a couple years ago, the then board opted not to replace the entire roof, but to keep it when the building was renovated. But the useful life of the roof is clearly coming to an end if it hasn't already reached it. And we're seeing a number of leaks that have sprung up and that folks have reported both in the main gym area and around the walking track and in other areas. So we had been patching and repairing that initially when those started, but now they're becoming far too frequent, and the damage from them is just a little too much, and presents mold issues, et cetera. So the time has come, in our management's view and in the board's view, to replace the roof. So management went out and sought bids and got bids from 5 companies, including several local companies. They were Straight Line Roofing, Green Collar Roofing, Bonsignor Construction, DMR, and Home Pro. Straight Line, Green Collar, Bonsignor declined to bid. DMR and Home Pro bid. And based on those bids, management made a recommendation to go with DMR at a base price of $117,300. There's some contingency built in because there'll be plywood, some framing, and some other sheetrock work that'll have to be done. So we're asking for an agreement to and approval to conduct this repair at a cost not to exceed $130,000. And importantly, this will not result in an assessment. This will be funded 100% from our capital reserve fund, which currently has a balance of $222,747. Quick note about the capital reserve and transfer and construction funds. Transfer and construction is a separate capital reserve type of fund that has $197,265 in it as of June 30th. Those 2 funds cannot be accessed by our board for any repairs above $17,500, which strikes me as a pretty low number in this day and age, but it is what it is. We have additional reserve funds in other accounts, which are really just recoveries that we've made. For example, the 90 North Emerald Green property, we've gotten some tax sale money recently. And we're stocking that stuff away to hold for things like this as well. So we're lucky that we have a good amount of capital reserve type of cash around to do these projects and not have to dip in for an assessment. And doing these 2 specific projects that we're going to talk about today won't deplete us to a point where we wouldn't be able to do some other emergency repair if we needed to without an assessment. At least that's the goal, and that's what it appears right now. So with that, I think the roof thing is pretty straightforward. So do folks have questions? Go in the room first. Okay, seeing none. Anybody online have questions about the roof replacement? Too early on a Sunday? All right, going once. Yeah, Alex, please.
I know you put a hard figure of 130.
30. Yeah.
I don't think that's realistic. We don't know exactly what we're gonna find once we open that up. And what happens is, if you got bad plywood and these extras, it's easy to run, So what I'm trying to say here is, if that happens, once the roof is open and we know we're gonna owe extra money, do we have to wait to come back to do this again?
We may. I mean, that's part of the trouble of this. That if something's a moving target and we're asking for approval, it's always difficult. I think we did our best and
figure so that we
Would we be able to use the 17.5 thing?
possibly, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, other than setting it at like $1 million, I don't know really how we can.
Oh, no, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
130. It's a big roof.
I think Nick was, not to put him on the spot, reasonably confident that the 135 was a good outside number to give us that additional contingency cushion. But it's a fair point, and we'll have to figure that out, or keep our contractor to his basis, really. Marcy, I see your hands up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wonder if we anticipate that the entertainment will be closed during repair, and if that's the case, when will it be done, and what's our timeline for that?
Very good question. I don't know the answer. Nick?
So the entertainium should not be closed during the repair. There just may be a time period in which we're going to use the side entrance while they're doing any kind of work that may affect different access points of the building, Marcy. So that would really be it. We may have areas where, there'll be some, safety where we cordon off where you won't be allowed to be out in front of the building. But other than that, really, when they're up there doing the work, it shouldn't impede anyone's ability to use the building whatsoever.
That's great. And when do we expect that the work will commence and how long do we think it'll take?
Assuming that the community approves the vote at our August 17th meeting and the election. So once that happens, we award the contract. I believe the contractor could start within 3 weeks, and then the work should take them about a week from start to finish. So I would estimate that the work would be totally completed by sometime around September 15th.
That's great. And last question, because Patrick mentioned that there are leaks noted. Are we doing any interim, anything like tarping the roof or covering up so that we don't get mold and other worse problems?
Yep, so
Yeah,
we've
go
done
ahead.
some interim patching in the areas where we've identified leaks. There was also a resolution of the board to go and basically tar coat the entire roof. But in the interest of saving, we're really just focusing on whenever we identify a leak or an area of a low spot, we're going out and we're just dealing with those areas specifically right now.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Marcy. All right, anybody else on the roof? All right, let's go on to the second repair item, I guess capital item. A very, very important and, I don't know, kind of an exciting item. And Joel is here to walk us through a lot of this. He was heavily involved in setting this up. But as folks can visibly see on Davies Lake and Treasure Lake as well, the weeds have gotten completely out of control. There are multiple potential hazards that result from that, including that they could spread to other lakes by waterfowl, or if anybody takes a boat over to Lake Louise Marie and it's got any of the film left on it. Also, at Davies Lake, we have a previously approved DEC permitted project to conduct repairs to the dam that's there. But the divers who have to do the work cannot even get in there with all the weeds that are there. So we need to solve. One option is to hire a guy, if you will, and Joel can talk about his conversations with a contractor who could come in at $1,000 a day and just for the rental of the machine. Okay. To clear the weeds out. And then the other option is to buy the machine with some leaseback options. And the machine that we would be looking at currently is a used machine, but it's only got 80 hours on it, so it's in really sort of fairly new shape. At a base price of $55,000, we'd have to get a $2,500 Jenny steam cleaner to keep that clean, and then we built in some contingency and are asking for approval to spend an amount not to exceed $65,000 for the purchase of a weed removal machine, which
We needed OJN.
would be theoretically not theoretically, would actually be run by our own maintenance staff. So we wouldn't have to pay the $1,000 a day plus whatever the guy charges. I'm going to turn it over to Joel for, I guess, a little bit more in-depth of an explanation. And then I know Joel has some video and hopefully I can figure out the photos in the meantime.
Thank you, everybody, for getting up early on Sunday morning and dealing with this. We have a problem. As everybody can see, is when they go down Old Sackett, Davies Lake is covered with water chestnuts. You can't use the lake. It smells. There's problems. We have a dam. Yesterday, I went and I took pictures of Davies Lake, and I pulled off to the side of the road and I stepped into the grass and my shoe went down into the water. So the dam is definitely leaking, and I have some pictures of that, but I didn't send them to Pat. So we have to deal with this issue, and it's our assets. We have to protect them. We also have to protect our main lake because there are geese in this lake, which I cannot believe, but they were there yesterday. So what the problem is with these water chestnuts, the actual nut will attach onto the goose's feathers. And when the goose flies, the nut goes into another lake, which could go into Lake Louise Marie, which would make it a real problem. So, that's what we're dealing with. Sorry about that, guys. Oh,
Joel's trying to tell you it's a real emergency.
that's it. There you go. That was a prop. That was from the guy from Mad Money. Do my sound effects. So we need to deal with this stuff. On Treasure Lake, there's a lot of it that's covered also, and that's probably due to what happened last year with lowering the level and then not being able to come up. The soil was the perfect area for germination of these seeds, and like my bay is covered. I can't get out on a motor. Plus there's other things along the sides and stuff. So we deal with it. This machine that we're talking about, I know in the past we've cut the weeds and then they only come back. This is not what we're doing here. Literally here, we're going to be pulling the weeds out. It gets pulled out, it gets put onto a bunk, it gets taken onto the shore. We then plan to move this up either into our back parking lot or to the storage area, let the weeds dry out, and then burn them. So that's the deal that we're going to be doing to get rid of it. The machine has 80 hours on it. I spoke to the people yesterday. I know the two other people have done some help to help me out a lot. Mark Becker, who's here today, has gone out and looked at the other machine. Rich Brown has called out the company called Reed Eater, and the price of $55,000 is a fair price for this machine. It only has 80 hours on it, and it's here. And it comes with a trailer. And once we buy this machine, we'll then also be able to take it over onto Lake Louise. We need to start that permitting process. And then there are two areas on Lake Louise, Alex, by your house, I'm assuming, and over by the pool area, there too, there's a lot of weeds. The limitation with this machine is it needs 12 inches of water to function. Also on Davies Lake, there are stuffs, so slumps and rocks are bad for this machine. And also with on Treasure Lake, the way our permit is set up, we have a buffer zone of 15 feet off the shore and 15 feet off the islands. So some of the areas where it's really narrow and there's stumps, I'm not going to be able to clean. We'll have to go in there and pull those by hand. But hopefully that'll be a more manageable situation than what we have now. And I'm opening the floor up to any questions. Please feel free to ask.
And I just want to say thanks to Joel and to Nick and to Tom and Mark as well, and all those who helped on this. And Mark and I were just having a conversation as our meeting was getting started. If for some reason this particular deal that Joel has been working on doesn't work out, there are other options within hopefully within the price span that we're seeking, where we could get another used machine, and it would really, it's a quite obviously necessary thing. So I just wanted to thank the people who are working so hard on this, because you'd think like things like this would be a little bit easier to figure out, but they're actually quite tricky. And so very helpful.
Also, if we buy this machine, there won't be a need to lower Treasure Lake every 3 years, because we do that for weed control. We would be able to go in there and, harvest the weeds once they go back. So, that's what this is. Unfortunately, it's going to be a problem that we're going to be dealing with for years, So, and on Davies, the water level is low. So the back section of Davies, we won't be able to do until the dam is fixed. Because once the dam is fixed, the water level will probably go up about 2 feet. Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, Tom.
Sure, please.
Yeah. So just based on the Davies situation, which the permit expires December, and Nick and I are reapplying to get 1 more year out of it. This has been going on since like 2019, 2020. So we're going to need to do those weeds this fall and again next spring, because whether we use the existing drain pipes, if the valves work, or install siphons to do this dam repair, all those weeds will completely clog that and make it near impossible to do this job to fix the dam. So, when you look at the cost of just hiring someone to come in twice, and you're going to have to take at least half those weeds off that lake, which is a big undertaking. To me, the amount of money it's going to take just doing that, just so we can fix the dam, warrants just buying the boat, because you're still talking like 20 grand, roughly, maybe more, to get that much weeds out for that lake, so we can get in the siphons and properly do the job, because otherwise those pipes and everything will just clog up and we're going to have a big mess on our hands when we try to do the repair.
Yep. And who knows how often in the future years we're gonna have to do this as well. Norman in the chat asked, what happens if the machine hits a stump?
It stops. You know, hopefully it doesn't get damaged. You know, we're looking also, I spoke to the manufacturer of the machine. There's a bumper that can get put on the machine as well, that we also have as a bridge.
All right, Marcy, I see your hands up.
Yeah, first of all, thank you to everyone involved in this and kudos for coming up with all these really good ideas. I'm fully in favor of this machine. But I want to add a few things. One is that I'm sure you're aware, certainly Tom is aware because he's so savvy on this stuff. There are most of our local roads and unfortunately Route 17 drain directly into our lake, pouring in all sorts of chemicals and, toxins and oil or gas leaks and salt treatments. Brad and I went to the DOT meeting at the library and we spoke with a number of people there, and we encouraged them, and they did, to write down all of our concerns, and they did say they would take it back to the meeting. But that's only the drain at Route 17. And we have pictures of massive amounts of sludge, because I don't know what else to call it, that are coming right, that are growing right around that drain. So the other thing, and there's some interest stirring, and I'm very encouraged by that. I had sent around an email that was copied from the president of the Wolf Lake Board that says that in their entire community, they don't allow any kind of lawn chemicals, of pesticide or plant treatments at all, because it's all in the watershed. It all drains directly into the lake, whether you're lakeside or not. So to me, as wonderful as this is, it's a short-term solution. And it's like, it's 0 degrees outside, you turn up your heat, but you have all your windows and your door open. So it's going to continue, to come in. And I know we can't mitigate everything. I mean, I know that people who have boats that they launch at the launch or bring in through the dam, probably take those boats elsewhere. We've been to Bashakil and they make you scrub your kayaks with special solutions. I don't know that we can go that far, so I'm not pushing for it. But the things that we can do, it's a serenity prayer. Understand what you can do, what you can't, and do the things you can. And I certainly think we should continue to consider having restrictions with penalties, or it won't be respected, on using chemicals and things, because it's mostly what we learned from the DEC is the phosphorus and nitrogen that goes from our street drains, from our lawns and our gardens directly into the lake, and will just cause this to proliferate along with other things that can damage the lake. So thanks for that.
Yeah, thanks, Marcy. And I was on some of those emails. So I think, as you know, we committed that the Lakes Committee will take a look at those things.
Yes.
And look at, I hear your point. It's a multi-pronged attack to keep the lake pristine, but that's a longer project. I think some common sense rules and regulations make a lot of sense. And personally, I support that, speaking just for myself, but it's something the Lakes Committee will look at. But in the meantime, primarily because we have the Davies Dam work that needs to get done, we really got to get that smaller lake cleaned out. So
Yeah.
why we're focused on this piece. So,
And Patrick, I don't know if you're aware, but there was a sewage leak. You probably do know about that. We learned that from our friend who is head of the health department. A massive, I think 250,000 gallons, was it? Leaking from the Emerald Green sewer into that stream. McKee Brook, that, I am thinking flows directly into Davies Lake. So, if you don't know it, I can forward you the emails from the
yeah,
health department.
and let Nick know. We'll get some more information.
We'll do that. Okay.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Nick, do you want to share some of those photos? And then Mark, I see your hands up. Mark, why don't you go ahead while Nick's working on that?
Joel.
Yes, I'm sharing my screen. Is it coming up on
It
the
just
Zoom?
comes up as your, like your list of pictures. The actual photos haven't come up.
Okay, hang on one second.
Sure.
I guess maybe my question would be, my question is, other than removal of actual weeds, does the machine that we're looking to purchase have any other functionality?
It will also deal with algae blooms.
That's what my question is gonna be to.
Yes, it deals with algae blooms, and also what we have on Treasure, which I've never seen before, is like we have these floating bogs.
Right.
So we might be able to take that out as well too. One good thing, we have this 15-foot buffer, but what the gentleman Brian has told me, that these weeds grow and the roots are so intertwined. So let's say if we're 15 feet out from the shore, that when we start pulling, we might be able to, even though we don't breach the 15-foot barrier, we might be able to pull some of those weeds in because everything is just so interconnected. And when you pull one, you get a bunch. So
Because one of the options, in case this falls through, the machine that I was looking at has, it's really multifunction, it has its own skimmer.
Mhm.
Not that we have any oil
Right.
or gas, but it has a skimmer to skim the water.
Right.
It also has a side cutter
Mhm.
for like, we're looking at it, Dave, besides the water chestnuts here, you have all the overgrowth on the side. So this machine has an arm that goes down,
Mhm.
cut those, and would be included in removing
Nice.
all the other stuff.
Okay.
So I was just concerned with the functionality of what we're buying
Mhm.
and getting bang for the buck for
Mhm.
spending.
Mhm.
We will. We will. It definitely does algae blooms.
I mean, I'd say the more competition for this,
Oh, yeah,
the better. So,
We're all trying to do, we're all
Yeah.
trying to go the same way. We want the best for the lake and the best for the
but
community.
that's cool. that
Yeah.
They have that functionality.
Mhm.
Neat.
Oh,
Rich, I see your physical hand is up.
Thank you. I've been involved with the lakes and cutting since 2009. Involved with the lakes for the 38 years that I'm here. We've cut, we've done everything. The difference of having our own machine, we cut, well, in 2012, the last time. If we have our own machine, we will be cutting regularly,
Fully.
okay, probably seasonally. And that would allow us to maintain the properties and the lakes in a manner that you wouldn't have if you didn't have the machine. And you don't have the ongoing great expense of hiring somebody and not being able to get them in the season that you need them. There are a lot of customers out there using cutting devices. And by us having our own, we'll be able to do it with a regular schedule, just like mowing the property. So this will include not just Treasure Lake and Davies, but there are significant areas that need maintenance on Lake Louise Marie. And we now have a tremendous amount of invasive species of plants being carried from one lake to another by the geese. And water chestnut, for people that are not familiar with it, water chestnut, frogbit are a couple of the invasives that are very rapidly transferring within the lakes of our community. So I just want people to know that owning a machine, hiring somebody to do it from the outside is not always the same. When you have somebody from the outside, we don't always as a community have the money to go ahead and do this. But if we have the machine, it's only time and manpower. Thank you.
So there's pictures now.
Thanks, Rick.
This is Davies Lake shooting, I believe, from the entertainment side. As you can see, the whole thing is covered. It's really sad. It's really, really sad. Really sad.
Mark Fox, thank you for your comment, noting that that his other lake has a machine. We cut every spring to maintain the lake.
Who's that? Mark?
Mark Fox. Okay, Nick's showing some photos, and in a second I'll put up a YouTube video that shows exactly what this machine does, how it works. All right, so y'all see the problem there, right? Like, not too controversial. Nick, is it all right if I share the video? Okay, hang on, I just have to get it.
Go ahead, Patrick.
That's it.
Hold on, I have to share.
You get pretty good at
Good.
this.
Okay, whoops. Now, go like this,
There you go.
like this, boom.
So this is the machine,
Sorry. Gross. All right, so there you guys get it.
Oh, yes, question. That machine, I
Hold
thought
on.
it said pull it.
Oh, is
It's
this-
pulling the weeds,
yes.
but is it pulling it and getting it from the root?
It's impossible, if I may add.
Yes,
it,
sure. Okay.
Yes, and I'm gonna tell you the when our lake was drained, Lake Louise Marie, I started pulling, there was no water in the lake, so I figured hey, it's a good time to do it. And let's say the flower was here, whatever's called was here, and when you pull, the root itself could be by that window. So there's no way that if you're making a pass here, you're gonna get that. But if this is a maintenance, you keep doing that. Maybe you get lucky one day and get it closer.
You're all roots up, right?
Yeah,
You could never get that.
Right, so, but also the big thing here is once we get this machine, we'll no longer have to drain, lower the level on Treasure Lake, which has environmental impacts as well. So, you know, that's that.
Rich,
When you cut a plant, if you cut the leaf is where photosynthesis goes down the xylem and phloem, which is that little strip that goes down to the root. If you cut the leaf while it's in its growing season, the root is eventually going to die because it has no oxygen and nutrient supply coming from the leaf and photosynthesis. So your roots are going to be taken care of eventually. It's just a repetition of the procedure, which you don't get when you cut once every 12 years, but you do get when you cut yearly.
thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? All right, well, thanks, Joel. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, everybody who worked on this.
Please,
Nick-
please vote for this, because we dire need this, because if we don't, we're gonna lose our lakes
Yep.
and our water system.
All right, and of course, you know where to reach us by email if other questions come to mind before the 17th, certainly let us know. And thank everybody for coming out on a Sunday morning. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye. What did they cut? What we, wow.
Mm.